Oh, baby. The Brooklyn Nets could have some issues on their hands because they got a few players that don't want to get the jab. And that is a problem in the city of New York. We'll talk about it after the bumper. What's good, good people? Jeff Lighty Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget the All Black National Convention is October 29th through November 1st. Get your tickets now. I'll be there. Dr. Boyce will be there. A bunch of people will be there, so get your tickets right now. So, the Brooklyn Nets could have an issue on their hand. Their general manager, Sean Marks, says right now the jab mandate would prevent a couple of his players from starting the season with the team. Let's talk about it. Let me share my screen. We're going to tap in with Yahoo Sports because you guys know I mess with Yahoo Sports really heavy. It says if the season started today, the Brooklyn Nets would have a few problems. Nets general manager Sean Marks told reporters that some of his team's players would be unable to enter the Barclays Center due to New York City's recent V-word mandate. We're not going to say it because you know how they're doing it on YouTube. It says from ESPN, quote, regarding if they could play, I can't comment on who could play and so forth, Mark said in the team's preseason news conference. There would obviously be a couple of people missing from the picture. I won't get into who it is, but we feel confident in the following several days before camp. Camp starts next week, by the way. Everybody will be allowed to participate and so forth. When asked if he believed the issue would be resolved by the beginning of the regular season, Marks reported that correct. It's unclear if he means that the players in question will get V-word or something will change with the mandate. New York's V-word mandate went into effect on September 13th, requiring all people over the age of 12 to have proof of their V-word to enter, quote, certain covered premises in the city unless they have an approved medical or religious exemption. The NBA informed teams that they will not give exemptions to players via the NBA. So basically saying, hey, if the city says you got to get V-worded, then you got to get it. You got to get the jab. If your city says you got to get the jab, you got to get the jab. As of right now, there are 3 teams in cities that say if you go into a place of business that's indoors, you got to get the jab. That is the Knicks, which are also in New York City, the Nets in New York, Brooklyn, and the Golden State Warriors out there in the Bay in San Francisco. So, this is interesting because honestly, I can tell you one person on the Nets right now that doesn't have the jab. I don't know this because I don't know this person, but I just from the way they operate and the way they move on and off the court and some of the things and the intellect that this person has, I can guarantee I could almost bet a paycheck that Kyrie Irving hasn't gotten jabbed yet. I could almost bet you a lot of money that Kyrie Irving is at least one of the players that hasn't gotten the jab yet. And the reason why I can almost guarantee that is because I don't believe Sean Marks would have brought this up. I don't believe Sean Marks, the GM of the Brooklyn Nets, would have brought this up if it was a player that isn't prominent, right? If it wasn't a Kyrie Irving or a Kevin Durant or a James Harden, I don't think he would have brought this up. Now, we know how reckless James Harden is. He was at the strip club during the pandemic. He doesn't care. So he might not have the jab either. But Kyrie Irving is one of the most interesting people in the history of the NBA. I can almost guarantee Kyrie Irving has not been jabbed. I can almost guarantee it. I don't know this. I do not know Kyrie. I do not know people that know Kyrie. None of that. But I can almost guarantee it just simply because of the way he operates and the way he moves. It's going to be interesting, though. It is going to be very, very interesting how, if it's Kyrie or any player that's on the Nets or the Knicks or out there in Golden State, how they're able to maneuver around this. Are they going to stand by their morals or stand by their values or stand by what they believe in and not get jabbed up? Or are they going to, buckle and decide to go ahead and get it? Because here's the thing, whether you get it or not, I mean, I don't really care, it is your business. The people that are shaming people into getting it and trying to tell them, oh, you should do this, do that because blah, blah, blah. Man, bump all of that. The statistics show, we can get into that another time. But it's going to be interesting to see if whoever it is on the Brooklyn Nets, whether it's, whoever it is, whether they decide to get it or they're going to stand strong and actually take a risk of missing training camp, of missing practice, and of missing games because they decided not to get the jab. It is going to be interesting to watch this. Now, could this be resolved by next week and not be a story and it's been a waste of time that I ever brought this up? Potentially, possibly. But could this be an ongoing story? Not just for those three teams, right? Because those are for those three teams to play home games. But think about some of the players on the other teams. They have to go into those cities, right? So say if you're on the New York Knicks and all the people on the New York Knicks got the jab, cool. But say you play for the Lakers, right? And you didn't get the jab. And you go to New York and play the Knicks, or you go to New York and play the Nets, or you go to Oakland or San Francisco and play the Warriors, and you didn't get jabbed up. But their mandates still in New York City still apply to you. The mandates out in the Bay still apply to you. That is going to be interesting to watch how the NBA teams are going to maneuver around this. Whether certain players who have, whether it's religious beliefs, kind of just this distrust for the government or whatever, stand strong behind not getting a jab. It's going to be interesting to watch. Now, the NFL hasn't really had to deal with this, or football hasn't really had to deal with this because they play outdoors, because they play outside. Some teams play in domes, but for the majority of teams play in an open air, kind of facility. And even some of the teams with domes, the roof can be opened up. So they kind of, can work around that in that kind of way, right? Now, there's special precautions. If you don't get the jab, you got to do certain things. But certain teams, if you're like Lamar Jackson's made it clear he doesn't have the jab. He's gotten the virus twice, and he's still been okay. We've seen what he did against the Chiefs. He's been okay, but it's going to be really interesting because in NBA, all of them play indoors. They all play in arenas, all closed doors. No elements, no weather elements, bother NBA players. But this could be something to watch for. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will be responding to the comments. Once again, I'm Jeff Lighty Jr. with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. It's going to be very, very interesting. You can follow me on Twitter at JLighty7 on Twitter. I have interesting conversations like this all the time. Also on Facebook, Jeff Lighty Sports on Facebook. That's Jeff Lighty Sports on Facebook. And you will catch me at the Omni in Orlando, Florida, October 29th through November 1st at the All Black National Convention. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope to see you there. I'll see you next time. Peace.